Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. You're very welcome to our preview show, and we're looking ahead on another action-packed weekend of club games. Joining me to do so is Sarsfield's midfielder, Eamon McGowan. And as always, this podcast is brought to you in association with McKeever Teamwear, proud suppliers of all Armagh GA merchandise. Eamon, thanks very much for coming on. And as I say,
no problem, Sean.
We're looking ahead to all these games. They all take place this week on Friday evening. So we'll start as we usually do. We'll start with Division 1A, and there's only two games here. We'll begin with the table toppers. It's Clevie taking on Drummondtee. With Clevie, who are at top of the table at the minute, taking on Drummondtee, who won the league last year. And this is the second time these teams are playing. It's the reverse fixture. Drummondtee and Clevie drew 9 each the first day. This one's going to be in Clevie. I suppose an interesting note, we always talk about home advantage on this podcast.
Yeah.
Clevie have lost 2 games at home to Madden and recently the Harps. So hard to know what way this is going to go.
Yeah. Now, I've always have a wee bit of a soft spot for Clevie. Like, I like the way they play. The last couple of years have been seen as a defensive team and be able to hit in the counter attack. So I haven't seen them lately now, but if they've changed to that transitional play of being able to move into attack, they're a serious operating team. Like, just looking, they've scored 2-10 and 1-10 in their last 2 games. So that 9-point victory or a 9-point draw could be on the cards again, Sean.
Yeah, I suppose being the first round, we didn't really know what to expect from the first game. That was in Drummondtee, and as I said, Clevie have lost 2 games at home, so they'll obviously want to rectify that this weekend.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and as I said, Drummondtee as well are coming into the game, on a high too after beating Clonard last year and or last week there, sorry, and 5 goals in the last 2 games. They're fighting their scoring boosts, so it could be a cracker on the cards.
So we'll not know obviously the Friday, but the 2 teams, it's hard to know. We're judging them on the first day 9 each. Doesn't seem like a high scoring game, but as we said, they've scored highly the last couple of games out, so it's hard to know what to expect.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and good players all over the field there in them teams. The McKennas and Drummondtee and Martin there as well. So Drummondtee will come with a Clevie full of hope that they're going to go away with the 2 points, but a good one for the neutral.
And that game is going to be live on Armagh TV for anybody interested in any neutrals. Will be able to view it on Armagh TV. There's only one other 1A game then, Eamon, on Friday evening. It's Clonard against Madden, and again, This is a repeat of round 1, which was in Madden, and Clonard won handsomely, 3-13 to 7 points. We've seen what Madden have done in the time after that. They went in a bit of a run, a bit of a setback last week, getting beat by Grahamore, but I don't think we're going to see that same scoreline this weekend.
No. The last time I seen Madden and Lurgan, they actually give Clonard a bit of a lesson. After it, I think Clonard went away and took stock, looked at themselves and changed their whole way of playing. And I think they were unbeaten then after that Madden match last year, securing promotion and then going into the championship. Obviously, I know how that went. But Clonard, I believe they're littered with injuries at the minute. Last week, the defeat to Drummondtee conceded 2 fluky goals, I believe, but and home advantage isn't really on the cards in this game because Clonard haven't got the pitch available. So say it's more near neutral venue, so it kind of levels it out. But say Clonard and then with their injuries, I think Madden have coming down, as you say, on form, and I could see Madden maybe just edging it.
And you mentioned that Drummondtee game. Clonard obviously coming off a defeat against Drummondtee the last day out, and so were Madden that won the first 4 games before that. The Grahamore game, obviously beating Crossmaglen, was the big one for Madden. But they're both teams coming off the back of a defeat, and in this league, you have to win as many games as you can. It's such a tight division. We talked about it with Tommy on Tuesday's show. Grahamore winning has just sort of bring them back into the pecking order. So 2 points here is going to be massive for whoever can get them.
Yeah, vital, and each team then can push on as well. With the 2 good footballing sides as well. So winning is a habit. So whoever gets the 2 points here again, then we're looking to kick on, and we never know what could happen the rest of the year.
And we spoke about the game. I think it's in St. Paul's on Friday evening. Clonard have actually lost all their home games, so they maybe don't mind it been moved.
Happy enough. Maybe getting there to North Lurgan.
So that's the two Division 1A games. As say they're both on Friday evening, 7:30 throw-in with Clevie and Drummonty live on Armagh TV. Division 1B then, Eamon, there's 3 games on here. We'll start with Clonagale and Silverbridge, 2 teams. A bit like Modern and Clonerne, they're both pushing for promotion, but they've both come off defeats the last day. Clonagale lost to yourselves last weekend, while Silverbridge lost to Ballymacnabs. But these 2 teams are still 2 favourites that are going to be at the top of the table when the season ends.
Oh yeah, definitely, Sean. We've played both teams now, and we can ensure this game's going to go right to the wire. And we're very physical, and we played with plenty of pace. Both teams are very quick and strong as well. But 2 points is vital in this league as well, because we know ourselves it's tight. Every game's vital, and it's a team that wins here coming off a defeat last week. The game's going to push on. Well, hopefully not too much, but we'll see. We'll see.
Obviously, Silverbridge haven't seen them up close last week. I suppose when you talk about Silverbridge, you have to mention their midfield, and you would know them quite well, having marked Pete Carher and Jamie Martin. Yeah. They have a big, strong, physical, mobile midfield that every team's going to have to plan for.
Oh, correct. Yeah, and their goalkeeper can ping a ball to them straight up the middle or the wing. He can pick them right on, and when they get the legs open, they're 2 hard men to stop. It's the same as the Clans as well. Like last week, we found that as well, that 2 good midfielders and both teams good forwards. So as I said, this game too could be high scoring, but we'll see what happens in the end.
And David Park, Clonagale, probably historically, it's a big field, a historic field. Clonagale probably want to make that a bit of a fortress, and they can put down a marker. They beat Cullyhanna there a couple of weeks ago. They can sort of put down a marker that they'll create a fortress of David Park.
Yeah, I believe they were winning as well against Mullabon before the injury. I think they were 4 or 5 points in front too. So any game they have in there, they seem to be winning. So to say they will be looking to make that a fortress. And a couple of the older fellas on the team, like Sean and Niall Henderson, etc., they'll be keeping them young boys in tick and letting them know what David Park means to So this game was home advantage is massive as well. So you wouldn't be surprised to see the Clans come away with 2 points.
On the other game, then we're going to talk about another. This is a big derby. It's Cullyhanna and Mullabon. I know you haven't played Cullyhanna yet, but you have played Mullabon, and they seem to be. I haven't seen them yet, admittedly, but on paper they seem to be fairly strong, and obviously they're one of these teams that are going to try to push for promotion as well.
Yeah. We played Mullabon. It was young Roy up top, and the 2 midfielders are very, very good players, very mobile and very strong. But to say, looking at Cullyhanna, their form goes out the window with derbies. They'll not be looking at the table there, just be going out and thinking, we'll get one over in these. And home Cullyhanna are a great outfit. Strong, very strong physical team. So they'll use that to their advantage.
I think probably of all the teams in Armagh, Cullyhanna is the one most badly struck by the county men not playing for the clubs. Obviously, if they had the injection of Aidan Nugent, Ross McQuillan and Jason Duffy, they're a completely different team.
Oh yeah, we'll soon find out, because there are next match. So hopefully Armagh win next week.
They're missing that star quality, obviously, that any team would love to have. They're currently second from bottom, while they're missing the star men, and I'm sure they have a few injuries as well. It's getting to that stage that you're going to have to start looking for points here, and a derby game, as you say, form book goes out the window, so they'll be targeting this one.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe they have the Molly Mackin and Kieran McKeever come on last week too. So there's boys that understand what it's like to play for the jersey in Cullyhanna. So in that changing room, I'd say they'll be bouncing off the walls coming out with them 2 boys.
It doesn't get much more experience than Molly Mackin and Kieran McKeever coming in.
Definitely not.
And Mullabon, you'd mentioned their midfield, but I know their forward line, the likes of Shay Lai, Eddie English, Owen McDonald up there, they've 3 or 4 forwards that really need mark.
Oh yeah, they're very good on their day. Eddie I think he's only come back from injury when we played them, so he'll obviously have 3 or 4 weeks now under his belt, and he'll be flying. We all know how quick he is, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he's very accurate. So he's one we'll take watching too. So yeah, it could be a shootout as well. So good game again for the neutral.
And the last one then in 1B, again, all Friday night. This is Ballymacnabb against Carcruppen. I don't think you have played Carcruppen yet, Eamon, but you have played Ballymacnabb, who are currently unbeaten and they've won the last 3 games on home advantage again on Friday night.
Yeah, the Knob at home, very well organised outfit. I would say they are the best team we played the year. So they are. But this Crippen side, your youth, young, as I said earlier on, winning is a habit. They've come in now, they've won their last 2. Barry Flynn, their manager, is a very shrewd operator. He'll have them guys well set up to play against Ballymacnabb's strengths. So I say I wouldn't be surprised if this goes right to the wire as well.
And Carcruppen, we've seen them a couple of times in the Intermediate Championship last year, and they probably took everybody by surprise. But we've seen how talented they are, and I'm not sure if Owen Woods will be playing on Friday night, but the likes of Tiernan Kelly, Larkin McParlin, Jack Cunningham, Richard Keenan, they've quality all over the field.
Oh, great, yeah, and plenty of legs as well, So as I say, Ballymacnabb, where we played them, was set up deep, and that might go against Carcrippen's running game, but as I say, the manager on the line, Barry Flynn's a very shrewd man. He might have something up his sleeve, so as I say, wouldn't be surprised if you seen that going right to the wire.
And Ballymacnabb, obviously having the likes of Gavin McParland and Ryan Kennedy back in now, the competition for places is hotting up, but still Jack Grugan and Rory Grugan missing on a couple of other injury concerns. But obviously having Kennedy and Gavin McParland, they're the main men for the Knob.
Oh, listen, Gavin, top quality every day. Having him on the team every day of the week against ourselves. Like you could see at the start of the match, he was a bit rusty, but the longer the game went, and after the goal went in, he took one off the outside of the boot from 40 yards. That was peak Gavin. So I would say he'll be shooting them over in Friday, no problem.
And that's again all on Friday night. So down to the intermediate division then. There's only one in Division 2A. This is all Lurgan clash. This is Wolf Tones taking on St. Paul's, and St. Paul's, obviously, we've spoke about them on the podcast with Tommy for probably every week now. Their comeback against Shane O'Neill's probably warrants us talking about it again. Unbelievable stuff, Eamon. Down by, I think 8 points with 5 minutes left, and end up winning by a point.
Incredible. I need to watch what I say about this match, because the locks in the house could be tuned outside. So good. But no, very, very impressive coming back against a strong Shane O'Neill's team. I was also at the St. Paul's match against Sandalphmore, and they fought right to the death too, and got the victory against Sandalphmore. Very, very fit team. But what do you expect when Shane's running managing them? So very, very well organised and very fit.
I don't know, you'll have to say nice things about Shane. He's your father-in-law, but you're probably the best man to ask. What is it about him? How does he drag this out of his teams?
As Tommy said last week, like, it's just, and I miss Shane playing, but just the way he talks and his aura, it's just gets you going, like, but it's rubbing off on St. Paul's young fellas. That's the next generation for them coming through, and that's his goal. Get St. Paul's back to where they belong, like. So the right man's at the helm, put that way.
And how do you play against a team like that? I suppose, like, that just never say die attitude, that never quit. They don't know when they're beaten, basically.
Exactly, and it's not just on the pitch; it's on the sideline too. They're through from as well. So you just have to keep going, and you have to match it fair with fair. That's the way the Toes will have to approach the game on Friday night. So, but I think suspensions on the Tones team might be a hindrance to them. I think they're 4 out or something. I'm not too sure, but to say this game again, Derby's out the window, form out the window. It's just who wants it more.
On the All Lurgan Derby, you've played in a couple yourself, Eamon. How do they fare out? Like, how St. Paul's and Tones? Is there a rivalry there, or what's the rivalry like between the Lurgan teams?
Oh, listen, every match against a team around Lurgan is a derby, like, and you want to win. Just going into town there on a Friday or Saturday, especially the match there on a Friday, the boys could be going on the weekend on it. So if they win, bragging rates are massive around the town,
And the likes of St Paul's, I know obviously Andrew Murnan isn't available for them with the county commitments, but they do have quality. I'm thinking of the likes of Ryan Lawless, Owen McConville, now McCrory in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
There's quality there.
Yeah, and the young boy McPartland, I've seen him playing against Moore, absolutely exceptional.
Anton McPartland?
Anton, that's the one, yeah, great footballer. But I think at the same time too, with the Tones of their suspension, St Paul's are crippled as well with injuries. So saying just because there's a couple of players out for the Tones, there's also a large number out with St Paul's. So the bench could be massive. You know, it's all about a panel these days, and whoever can come in and get the team over the line and go away with the 2 points will be thrilled on a Friday evening. So say this one could go. I'll be taking it in, put it that way.
And the Tones, I suppose, when it is such a derby, there's people missing, there's injuries. Having home advantage is just that wee bit more important, probably.
Oh yeah, and the Tones, they know how to play that pitch. I think they've actually manoeuvred the sidelines in a wee bit as well to help them out. But no, they know what they're at. Great man managing them as well, and Peter, he's another shrewd operator, very good young coach in Armagh. So as I say, it'll be on the line who has the wits as well to get the 2 points between Shane and Peter.
We'll keep an eye on that one. Peter, a good friend of the podcast, and Shane obviously admired every time we're talking about St Paul's. So we'll keep an eye on that one. We'll have to get maybe a Peter cam or something on the sideline. Yes, there's any clashes. So down to 2B then, Eamon. There's 4 games in Division 2B. We'll start with the league leaders. It's Cullaville taking on Farkhill. This is in Farkhill, and again Friday evening. Cullaville, you obviously know them well. You've played them last year in the intermediate semi-final. They got the better of you. They've started brilliantly this season. They're flying. What were you impressed about them last year, or what stood out to you?
Listen, that team shouldn't be in the division they're in. They're far too good for that. Like they were probably one of the best teams we played last year, and Championship proved it. Quality forwards, and the young fella Quinn, Collie Waters. Actually, everybody in the county knows all about him, and Hotzer as well played in the corner against us. 3 boys caused us problems all day. But they had the luxury of Niall Ronan pinging passes to him from 50, 60 yards. But Niall will obviously not with the county, so that is massive. Who can get the ball to them boys for Cullaville, you know?
And I think Niall, they're only one missing. Maybe they've obviously a few injuries and stuff. And we spoke a couple of weeks ago about their youth. They've young Dara Quinn, young King, Fergal. His name escapes me at the minute, but they've a couple of Fergal Kieran, sorry, the one half forward.
I thought you want to say Fergal Rowland there. I was going to say he's not a young lad.
Fergal Rowland's still knocking about too, I think. So these youth players coming through him, and that's obviously huge for every team. But we mentioned Fergal Rowland and the likes of Colin Waters. They've the experience there too of last year, and obviously winning the intermediate championship, whatever it is, 10 years ago too.
Exactly. And as I said earlier in the podcast here, winning is a habit. And them young lads are winning. And they're doing it. Look, some of the games they're doing it very comfortably. When it comes to championship, they in the league, they've been bleeding blood and boys in. And when it comes to championship, that team could be very dangerous. Very, very dangerous team in the championship.
And I just wonder, how much confidence do you think they took? Because obviously they were relegated last year from Division 2A. But went on an amazing run in the championship, beat Shane O'Neill's, beat St Paul's, beat yourselves before just falling short in the final. They've obviously taken huge confidence and taken huge strides from that, and they've pushed on again this year. Yeah,
exactly. They've obviously put in a good winter. So they have, so to say they can look at the teams they beat last year, and there's nothing really to fear this year at all. In the league as well, they can get the wins and put young players in positions and try out things because they know they'll get the result in the end. But I would say that team have a very close eye in the championship, and they'll be primed and ready for it when it comes.
And then the other game we want to discuss, it's Tiernogue and Ballyhagan. Obviously opposing ends of the table. Tiernogue pushing for promotion. I think they've only lost one game, and it was to Cullaville, who have beaten everybody thus far. Ballyhagan, they're struggling at the minute. Eamon, they're at the bottom of the table. I think they've lost. The Courtneys have retired. Jack Rafferty was injured. You know, they've lost most of their key men, so they're just struggling at the minute.
I've also heard a couple of them away to Australia or America or something as well. Like, and for such a small wee place, losing 1 or 2 players is huge. Never mind the retirements, you know. But some of the boys left in that changing room know what it means to play for Ballyhagan, and the likes of Conor Morgan and Mark Hughes. And Jack there, he's injured, but he'll obviously be knocking about the changing rooms. So they'll be coming into Portadown knowing what it means to play for Ballyhagan, and they'll not be coming out soft, put it that way.
And Tierno, they've been flying. As I said, they've only lost 1 game, but a great start to the league for them.
Oh, yeah. To tell you, there's a wee fella played in that team for them last year, by Oisin Connolly, and he's probably the best player we played against in the whole league. Exceptional player, absolutely flying. Pace, he just breaks lines, he was playing at 11, and if Ballyhagan would have a chance, that's one man that will need to stop.
I think they do have good forwards. Tierno, the likes of Connaughty, we've talked about, obviously Paul Carville a couple of times, Tom Weir breaking from midfield. They do have attacking threats.
Oh yeah, and Kiki as well. He's always poured down man through and through. He's always there. He's always knocking about with a couple of scores. But yeah, great forwards. Dead ball specialists, and Paul Carville, like, if any frees give away, he'll score them, like.
And this is probably, I'm not sure if this is a derby, but these teams would know each other fairly well as well.
Oh, this will be a derby, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Going up in St. Pat's and Armagh when I was in school, they don't like each other.
We've a weekend full of derbies here. So
that's it, yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's what you want. That's what you want, you know.
And Tierno with home advantage that time and again. That's Friday night. I think they're all thrown in at 7:30. Just 2 other games then in Division 2B. College Land host Crossmaglen Seconds, while Blake take on Clonmore. And in Division 3 then, Derrynoose, the league leaders at the minute, host Thomas Davis. Dorsey take on Mullabrack, and Middletown take on Portmore. All games on Friday at 7:30. Eamon, thanks very much for joining us and taking us through all the games. There's plenty of teams that will have a rest and have a weekend off, and hopefully they enjoy their weekend off. And as you said earlier on, Friday night games, this is what the players want. So maybe exactly. A few will enjoy the weekend as well.
Well, I might join them.
This is, I assume you were for the Friday night games for players?
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Oh, brilliant.
As long as managers don't call Sunday trainings.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely.
Which could easily happen. Eamon, thanks very much for coming on.
No problem,
as always, we'll be covering all the games with match reports, previews. We'll have another podcast coming out next week. Make sure to follow us on all our social media pages, on Instagram, Facebook, on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube if that's where you listen to the podcast, and also on Spotify as well. So, Eamon, thanks for taking your time out and talking us through all the games, and hopefully we'll have a good weekend of club action.
Cheers, Sean.